Pesos as OMCs implement new MPA price floor. We explore the impact of this on consumers and transportation fares. Also this hour, a minority in Parliament declares exemptions made to Family Values Bill not fit for purpose. And later this afternoon, President Mahama assures international investors of infrastructure boost to transforming Ghana's economy at ongoing Ghana-UK Investment Summit. I am Kemeni Amano with News Central. The news flash right now. Now, Ghana and the UK have signed a growth partnership deal, a strategic economic framework targeting job creation, industrial development in priority sectors. President John Dramani Mahama has given the firm assurance, yet to international investors, that Ghana is accelerating major investments in infrastructure as part of efforts to transform the economy and strengthen its position as a regional trade and investment hub. Now, speaking at the Ghana-UK Investment Summit in London, he said infrastructure remains a key pillar to the country's economic transformation agenda.
Infrastructure development remains central to our economic transformation agenda. Through the $10 billion 5-year Big Push infrastructure program, we're accelerating investments in roads, railways, ports, housing, transport corridors, and aviation infrastructure. We're modernizing key transport corridors, including the Eastern and Western corridors and the now iconic Accra-Kumasi Expressway. We're expanding airport infrastructure and pursuing the establishment of a new national airline to improve connectivity and facilitate trade, tourism, and exports between Ghana and major international markets, including, of course, the United Kingdom. We're also modernizing our ports and logistics systems to strengthen Ghana's position as the preferred trade and investment gateway to Africa. And Ghana's greatest competitive advantage is not only our resources or our location. Our greatest competitive advantage
Christian Yale is our correspondent at the summit. He's joining us with a bit more. Now, before we connect with Christian, we also know that the governor of the central bank, Dr. Johnson Esiama, has assured that the central bank will not record a repeat of the losses posted in 2024, stressing that the tough monetary policy measures adopted were necessary to create and correct past policy missteps. Speaking at the Ghana-UK Investment Summit, he said the bank is now better positioned to address challenges in the real sector and respond effectively to emerging economic risks. We'll connect now with Christian Yale. Christian, talk to us about the central bank governor's remarks on the losses. What was his explanation for it?
In fact, Kemini, when you look at the past few weeks, one of the major issues that have been largely discussed has been the losses posted by the Bank of Ghana in 2025. It is one thing that the minority in Parliament, for instance, has stressed over and over again, that when you look at what they term as the oversaturation of the economy, Bank of Ghana or government has been largely pumping enough money into the currency, what they term as sterilization, which they have always said that it has been high. And so today at the UK-Ghana Summit, Investment Summit, during a panel discussion, the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Johnson Pandit Esiama, indicated that last year was more or less like a heavy lifting for the bank because they needed to put in place a lot of measures or policies to deal with what he terms as fiscal failures in the past administration so that they are able to deal with the challenges going forward. So he says that, see, going forward, they have been able to deal with all the issues, and that his assurance is that there wouldn't be any repeat. As well, they are able to deal with all the real sector challenges. We can listen to Dr. Esiama say that to the gathering.
Many of the issues that we came to meet, we had already analyzed, we had developed solutions. And so immediately, you remember, we had to tighten monetary policy quickly. Why? Because there were some policy missteps the year before. And so inflation was still high, the exchange rate was still very volatile when we came in. So much liquidity had been injected since 2022. And so we spent last year draining that excess blood. No wonder you saw our financials, how much it costed us. Okay. But it was a necessary cost. You know, we call it a reset cost. And we believe that based on where we are now, we can tackle the real sector problems. We've brought about stability. Most of the costs that we incurred last year will not be repeated this year. But last year was the heavy lifting. We did a number of things. We looked at the interbank forex market, for example. A lot of new guidelines were issued.
Well, Christian, the governor also spoke about remittance inflows. What did he say?
He had indicated that when you look at what the trend had been from when he took office, he realized that there was a lot of offshore remittances happening, and that also required that issue was dealt with head-on to stop the offshore remittances, because when it happens, it means that government in the long run is going to miss out on a lot. In fact, he goes ahead to indicate that after they had dealt with that issue, it also contributed to how much, you know, the banking sector receives by way of foreign direct investment, or FDI. We can listen to Dr. Esiama, you know, talk about the fact that currently, as of 2025, government or the Bank of Ghana's remittance inflows had risen to about nearly 8 billion Ghana cedis.
In the last 10 years, public debt has been increasing on account of not only government expenditure, but also stock flow adjustment. Stock flow adjustment, simple put, is the state about 2%.
I mean, there was a lot of offshoring going on. By offshoring, some of the companies located here who take your remittances, what they do is, instead of paying the pounds into the nostro accounts of a Ghanaian bank so that it enters our system, they rather arrange, you know, they give you cedis back in Ghana. They rather arrange for somebody to give you the cedis in Ghana instantly. Yeah. But then the pound sterling or the dollars here, they keep it aside. So they turn themselves into FX dealers, whereas they are not licensed to do so. When they do that, the monies they take from you is not made available for us to use. So banks can, for example, use it to finance LCs, you know, pay for imports and the likes. And so when we got in, we had to put in measures to compel all these people to pay in those flows so that the inflows come through. Because once they come through, it helps to stabilize the CD. No wonder last year remittance inflows got as high as His Excellency has given the figure, nearly $8 billion US. Yes, go ahead and clap. It was nearly $8 billion US. Remember, that was about half the entire amount we got from foreign direct investment last year. And so for us at the central bank, we decided to look at our diaspora differently. These are part of the investors we are looking for. It's not just a foreign investor, but the diaspora population.
Well, now, Christian, we also know that the finance minister, who we listened to briefly, has been talking about public debt and expenditure controls, as well as the role of gold in Ghana's economy. Explain to us exactly what he said.
Exactly, Kemini. So he's been largely talking about the role of Gold Board in ensuring that Ghana does not only continue exporting raw gold, but as well there is some, you know, relevance attached to that and the corresponding benefit achieved. And so that one is there. And you know that talking about gold, it means that we are talking about the extractive sector. The finance minister mentions the sliding scale royalty regime that government has introduced to deal with lithium mining especially, which is also, attached to the other minerals that the country mines, such that the more benefit, the more royalty the government receives from it. But he says that, cutting expenditure and ensuring that government institutions spend within their means has helped the Bank of Ghana, for instance, to deal with the inflation, bring it down drastically, and as well as other interventions that they have been able to make. We can now listen to Dr. Kasia Latoforsen.
In the last 10 years, public debt has been increasing on account of not only government expenditure, but also stock flow adjustment. Stock flow adjustment, simple put, is the state-owned enterprises transferring their debt into the central government, about 2% of GDP. In fact, actual number is 2.5% of GDP. And so we introduced the commitment authorization that yes, you can be a state-owned enterprise, but we need to approve the kind of expenditure and the kind of commitment. Overall, what we've seen is that by cutting expenditure, we have actually assisted the central bank to be able to control inflation. And it was important from that stand. Then secondly, we needed to ensure that we capture our gold to control the gold export. And so we introduced what we call the gold board. And the gold board was to ensure that gold that was hitherto leaving the country through smuggling and the country was not benefiting from the value chain is actually stopped. And so what we did was the introduction of the gold board alone, once calendar year, we're able to buy gold up to 14 billion United States dollars. And that 14 billion assisted the central bank to be able to build reserves. Today, the central bank has a very healthy reserve position. And this year, we expect to buy gold at least 20 billion United States dollars. We also introduced the sliding scale so that we can capture the economic rent coming from the gold.
Well, Christian, we'll end our conversation here for now. Thank you so much for the reporting. Christian Yale joined us from London. Back here in Accra, we'll connect with the West Africa Region Director of CAS International, Apia Kusi Adomako. Apia, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Is Ghana well positioned for foreign direct investments?
Yes, good afternoon and good afternoon to your viewers. I think that Ghana is well positioned to attract foreign direct investment. We've seen the macroeconomic stability over the past 16 months. That is good. But if we want to attract more foreign investment, we also need to address the high cost of doing business. Electricity is very expensive in Ghana compared to other countries in sub-Saharan Africa. And so if you want to attract businesses into the country, we should be able to also look at the high cost and also delays in permits and other government licensing. In most countries worldwide, you are able to do most of these things online and get your approval a day or two. But in Ghana, you have to still, if you are in Tema or Tamale or Kumasi, if you are not lucky, you may have to drive to Accra and follow up on everything, which I think is not good. So while the macro stability tilts on the side of the country, I also want to say that the president and the government must also look at the business environment, the licensing, dealing with government agencies. I mean, it's very bad. You send an email, nobody responds. Most of the agencies even require you to come there before they will even start processing your paperwork, which is very bad. And this also adds up to the cost in doing business.
I see. And when you hear the pitches of the president, the finance minister, and the central bank governor, it's clear that you're trying to woo investors. Now, this outlook you have given us, is that how the investor community views Ghana's economy at this time?
I think most of this data about the ease of doing business is publicly known. The World Bank has been publishing this thing for many years, and even locally, AGI and other bodies have also been publishing this information. And so businesses, investors when they are coming into your country, they also look at other things. For us now, the whole of West Africa, peace and security is no longer an issue. In the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, then war-torn countries were not were not capable of receiving investment. But now our neighbor, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, they are all peaceful nations. So what we used to trump ourselves of that, oh, we are an island of peace in a war-torn West Africa, that trump card doesn't hold. So if we want to attract investment, I think that we should also let the reset happen. We've seen some agencies like GIPC doing 24/7. Yeah, that is good. But I mean, some agencies, you still have to submit if you want to register a company. You have to still download the form, the PDF form online from the ORC website. And once you are done, when you fill it, you have to go there, submit the paper form, the hard copies. And that could take you more days. Whereas in most jurisdictions, registering a company, you're able to go online and do every application from start to finish online and pay your fees, and then you get your approval electronically, and you'll be able to start using that particular thing. I think we need to also address that. And then another thing that our work ethics, the Ghanaian work ethics is also another issue. The president spoke to Ghanaian entrepreneurs and Ghanaians in the UK. Most of these people have a lot of desire in terms of investing in Ghana. But you come and set up a business in Ghana and you leave the business. By the time you come, the person who you ask the person to manage it has bolted with your money.
Right.
And that issue is another issue that I don't know to what extent can we resolve it. I mean, someone said that morality can be, you cannot legislate morality, but we can rather regulate behavior.
Very well, Prof.
I don't know to what extent can, as a country, we can work hard so that people can trust each other. The trust level is very low. You see the Turkish, the Indians, the Pakistani, the Lebanese, when they set up a business, they go and bring their nationals to come, their countrymen to come and run they don't trust the Ghanaian. That's an issue, and we didn't see that thing coming out clearly from the president's interaction in the UK.
With the international community. But just before we let you go, we know recently the PCI was signed by the government of Ghana and the IMF. The finance minister tells us is awaiting board approval. But talk to us about the impact it could have on Ghana's reputation and its ability to attract international investments.
Okay, so we have ended our partnership with, the credit facility of IMF. We've come out successfully, and now IMF is gone, but we've entered into a PCI, and still to allow them to have access to kind of support us post the program, so that derailment and other things in the future. And I want to say that this government has been very effective in terms of managing this economy, fiscal discipline. You see, yesterday the president said that he wasn't interested in spending $10,000, $11,000 for a Ghanaian who want to go and watch the World Cup in Germany, and they would rather prefer to buy tickets than housing and flying people around. That shows a level of commitment to fiscal prudence, and I think that we have to laud the president on these bold decisions. In terms of becoming very conservative on fiscal space.
Very well, Apia. We'll end it here. Thank you so much for your time. Apia Kosi Adomako is West Africa Region Director for CATS International. Now, Ghana and South Korea have signed a visa waiver agreement after nearly 50 years of bilateral relations. The agreement allows holders of diplomatic and service passports to travel between the two countries without visas. The agreement was signed by Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, and his South Korean counterpart, Cho Hyun, on the margins of the Korea-Africa Foreign Ministers meeting held in Seoul. Delivering his address as co-chair of the meeting in Seoul, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, praised the long-standing relationship between Ghana and South Korea, and called for enhanced economic cooperation and trade between Accra and Seoul. The minister noted that significant efforts are underway across the African continent to accelerate industrialization, improve infrastructure, and strengthen regional and international cooperation, which requires strategic partnerships. In other news this afternoon, the price of petrol has increased following the implementation of a new price floor announced by the National Petroleum Authority. Now, on May 28th, the authority announced the price floor for June 1 to June 16th pricing window as follows. Now, petrol now sells at 15 cedis 20 pesos per litre, diesel at 15 cedis 49 pesos per litre, and LPG at 13 cedis 48 pesos per kilogram. This is based on movements on the international markets and other prevailing market conditions. Crosby Yanan is at the 37 lorry station with some reactions to the increment in the price of petrol. Joining us with the very latest. Crosby. Oh, absolutely. What are you picking up? A terrible line there. Our connection to Crosby will not allow him to speak to us, but he's at the 37 lorry station picking reactions from both drivers and commuters alike on the increment in fuel prices, petrol.
What his expectations have been and what the impact of the increase will be on the work of drivers here. You're live on TV3. Talk to us. I'm sure this morning you've noticed a slight increase in the price of fuel at various filling stations.
We understand that the fuel has been increased. And we will learn that they have given even 20% increment,
In transport fares.
The transport fares, that's it. But we found out that it cannot help us actually, because not the fuel alone we use to drive the car or handle the cars. You buy a lot of things, you buy tires, you buy oil, all kind of things. It's very, very expensive. So I think this 20% cannot help us at all, honestly speaking.
Even though the price of fuel has gone up marginally, you think the 20% is still not enough?
No, it's not enough. The 20% is not enough. It will never help us at all.
What percentage do you want?
About 30% of it will be better. 30% maybe we'll manage. Even that one too also is a problem actually, but we'll manage. Okay. We'll manage. It's a matter of us to manage. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. So clearly, although the cost of transportation will increase, they're not very pleased about it. According to them, they've not been fairly treated for a very long time. I have another driver here with me. Talk to me. I'm sure when you noticed an increase in fuel prices today at the pumps, you were disturbed.
Yeah, we have already seen that they have increased it, but it doesn't help us at all. At least, roughly, if they can make it up until 30%, it's going to help us, because ties, even buying some things, oil change itself doesn't even help us. So we are pleading to for them to even increase it a bit for us, please. That's what.
So what percentage are you looking at yourself?
30% is better. It can help us a bit, but not all right, because we can't get everything 100% in that way. So at least we can do something better on it for us.
But there are those who also say that if it is increased, if transport fares are increased by 30%, it will affect other road users. They will not be very happy paying that amount.
Okay, if you're going to affect them, but when the time that they decrease our fare, none of them even reduce their payment that they collected from the government and all their various places. But as soon as they have increased our destiny, it's not going to affect them, because whatever you are going to get it at the previous time, the same thing that you have to get in around this time. So it's not going to affect anybody. It's going to make sure that, because we have a lot of things that we occupy in the house at the same time in here too, and at the same time the maintenance of the two doesn't even make it up. So if we can make it that way, it will help us. So
you want a 30% increase, but you're still not happy about the increase in the fuel price. Right. Thank you. There's one other driver that I'll be speaking with. Tell me, what's your name, sir?
Mr. John.
What was your reaction when you saw the slight increase in fuel prices today?
it was all good, but I also had the increment in lorry fare, about 20%. But 20% is not enough. At least we should at like 30%, because we use a lot of things to manage the transport business. Our tires, oil. Even now, if you go to Abosokai, things are very high. Things are very expensive. So at least 30% is good. So you manage the 30% if it is beginning to give 2 hours. Yeah.
So you would prefer 30% increment?
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Well, they're telling us that it's not only fuel that determines how much they spend on the road or on their vehicle. So a 20% increment is welcome. However, they desire for a larger percentage. And they're also telling us that the increase at the pumps, it is not something they are also happy about, regardless the 20% increase in the transport fares. I have a passenger here that I'd like to speak with. So you're live on TV3. I'm sure you've had conversations that by tomorrow there's likely to be a 20% increase in lorry fares. If you get into a vehicle, how will that affect you?
It will never affect me, because in as much as I'm working, I'm getting something. It's cool. It's never affect me. It's cool.
You think you'll be fine with the increase in transport fares?
Yeah, it's cool, because so that the drivers, they can have something on their own. They can take care of their kids. You see, they can work to earn something. You see, yeah, because they've been working hand to mouth. You see, yeah, they've been working hand to mouth. But if there's increase, they can have something to take care of their kids, take care of their, to pay their bills. So it's cool. Yeah.
But that would mean that other things that we rely on in the country, the cost of service, cost of goods and services will also go up.
Like cost of goods and service for other things?
Yes, other things. Eventually will have a ripple effect on every other thing.
If inflation comes on transport, it will definitely go to other things, and it's still cool with it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's cool.
Thank you. So, mommy, you know, what to say? A free cheneko, a better lorry fares move by 20%. And how do you say?
Oh, but what? They say, no, because I say, and say, it's not too full anymore. Maybe I be higher pa.
For only the yatum into drivers for say yatum kwane de or some de kakran so to or musika no send your be so betimi ahwe mo mane o mobusia.
Asemo. You be hwe de be full no de be ha de be ha mom. E be ha pa anti say aban betuma ye hu bibia maya.
It's a drivers for the two national lorry fares no so a costra. It means that you man now you know so the kakra beto so ana.
Me the be beto so if say me kokuro mu a lorry fare ne atu mu a me so me ba me niam na me ton me so me tum.
I see, mommy, medasi. So it's divided here. If you come to the 37 stations, the drivers are not happy that fuel prices are increasing. There's a 20% increase, proposed 20% increase in the cost of transport. Now, other road users, passengers are also not very excited about this because they think that it will impact on what they do, will have severe impact on what they do, and in turn, they would also want to increase the cost of the service or the service they provide or the goods that they offer. So we are in a cycle here, if you like. But we'll speak to some other people. And hi, good morning. You're live on TV3. I'm sure right now that you're about to sit in the vehicle, you've heard that by tomorrow there's likely to be a 20% increase in lorry fares. How do you react to that?
I don't. As for me, well, it depends on us, because I don't think Ghana is very hard. Ghana is very hard.
So if they add this, yes.
Ghana is very hard, but I beg you, both of you, to reduce the lorry fare to us, because it's very hard.
All right.
Yes, it's
Thank you so much. Well, puts very simply, it's hard already. So increasing the cost of transport, increasing transport fares is not something they are very excited about, and it's something they would not want to to entertain or to accept. But talk to me. You were a driver or you were a passenger?
I'm a driver.
You were a driver. So I'm sure you'd be happy with a 20% increase.
Oh, yeah. In some way, it's going to benefit someone, and another way, someone is going to suffer, because the 20% is going to help us at least manage the fuel that we buy, because it's like we are going inside, our income is going inside the fuel. So by another way, the passenger who is receiving a little salary is also going to suffer. Yeah, that's how.
So you think it's balanced already, because when you get the money, when the fare is increased, it means the passenger will also suffer.
Good.
Okay.
Because at the passenger side, his salary is not increased yet. Unless maybe it is increased. If it is increased, fine. Then everything is going to balance. But in case, for us, it needs to go up so that everything will be manageable. Everything will be fair. But to the other side, that is going to be.
Well, I think he has put it, he has given us a balanced view on this, that the drivers are happy, but other road users, other people who rely heavily on the transportation services, they will not be excited about this proposed increment in transport fares, about 20%. But the drivers are also not happy that fuel prices keep going up. So if fuel prices keep going up, there's no other choice for them than to also increase the cost of transport. 20% proposed. A lot of them are telling me that they desire for 30%. Back to you, Kemini.
Crosby Annan with that report from the 37 Lorry station. It's News Central here on TV3. I'm Kemini and I'll be right back with more news. Don't go away.
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasmini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Ghana's Most Beautiful is 20 years, and to kickstart the special anniversary season, you are warmly invited to an exclusive royal ball and fundraiser for a legacy project. An evening shared with our cherished partners, distinguished past queens, and the remarkable individuals who have shaped this journey over the years. Join us at 8 p.m. sharp on the 6th of June at the Adisa Pavilion within the prestigious Labadi Beach Hotel. Red carpet is live at 6 p.m. Come for the elegance, stay for the purpose, be part of the legacy. Ghana's Most Beautiful, 20 years of culture, grace and legacy. This event is strictly by invitation.
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abinanya Kwasmeni, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Ghana's most beautiful is 20 years. And
Welcome back. It's still News Central here on TV3. Now, the minority caucus in Parliament has accused government and the ruling NDC of weakening the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill through extensive amendments before its passage by Parliament last Friday. At a media briefing, MP for Asin South, Reverend John Intim Fojo, questioned why a bill the NDC previously urged former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to assent to has now been significantly altered under President Mahama.
On behalf of the Minority Caucus, we have called this press conference to ask a simple question, but very simple, but very serious questions, very, very serious questions, on behalf of the Ghanaian people. And the question is, what changed? What has changed in our values from 2024? And what has changed now in 2026? Have Ghanaians changed their values on LGBT since 2024? If that has not changed, if nothing has changed in our value system, then the bill which Ghana passed, Ghanaians wanted, 93% of the population deemed as very important, should be the same bill that is important to the Ghanaian people today. What has changed? In 2024, Ghanaians were told that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill required only presidential assent. That was all that Ghanaians said they needed. Indeed, NDC were very forceful in joining those calls, but all that was needed was presidential assent. The country was urged to pressure President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to sign the bill immediately. In 2026, however, the same bill, when we place it before them, in the expectation that the same President Mahama, who promised to sign the same bill that they wanted President Akufo-Addo, and we all wanted President Akufo-Addo to sign. However, when that bill was placed, the bill in that form was not presented to President Mahama, but had to be mutilated, had to go through major surgeries, had to be amended, had to be deleted. Original provisions from the bill 22 had to be deleted, redrafted, and 31 insertions made before President Mahama would have it and desire it to sign it. Was that a promise? Was the promise to come and amend, review, mutilate, alterate, dilute the bill before he signs? You all remember. The promise was clear. Vote for me. I will come and sign the bill. On all their platforms, they said, vote MPP out because they won't sign the bill. Vote NDC. NDC will come and sign that bill. They did not say NDC will come and amend that bill. NDC will come and review that bill. NDC will come and delete provisions from that bill and redraft it before we sign. That is a scam. And that is breach of trust. That is deception. And that is hypocrisy. So today, instead of President Mahama to assent to the same bill we passed in 2024, they have changed it extensively. And what they have today is materially different from what was passed in 2024. Substantially different. You can't subject a bill to 22 deletions and 31 insertions, total of 31 amendments, and expect that the bill is the same. You have
Now, some advocates against the bill are calling on President John Mahama to return the legislation to Parliament for further consideration before granting assent. However, Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga has assured Ghanaians that the president is expected to assent to the bill upon his return from an official trip to the UK. So what does the Constitution say about the process, and how long do Ghanaians have to wait for a final decision to be made? Nura Mohammed tells us more in this report.
Including rights groups and religious advocate groups, are eagerly awaiting President John Dramani Mahama's decision on the newly passed Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. While minority in Parliament still opposes the amended bill, many of its supporters are urging the President to give it his assent, arguing that it strongly reflects the values and cultural beliefs of the majority of Ghanaians and deserves his assent. Chairman of Advocates for Christ and staunch supporter of the bill, Edem Senanu, however, wants the president to consider some further changes before assent.
My expectation is that the president should review, and I'm saying this because some issues have been raised regarding the exemptions, the Article 9 exemptions. There's at least one that I think weakens the intent of this pro-family values bill, as we call it. And I think that we ought to review that. You cannot just leave it and say any non-governmental or public sector entity that gives information should be exempt. It is important that the purpose be clearly articulated. My read of the lawyers, the journalists, I think that there's every good reason to go along, including the academics and researchers. I think the wording provides a clear understanding of the constructive purpose or objective of why those exemptions have been provided.
Meanwhile, questions have emerged over the timeline within which the president is expected to act and the legal options available to him. Private legal practitioner Martin Pewu explains.
Generally, this is what it is. The law doesn't tie the president to a specific time that he must sign. It's not expressly stated aside that he must sign, let's say, within a week or two. Otherwise, then he's in trouble. No. What it is that he's been given a lot of leeway to decide when to sign, right? But we also know that when you go around or when you say you look at the context of the bill, in the past, he's indicated that he's willing to sign once Parliament passes the bill and it comes to him. Yeah, so when you Google it, you'll find his statements there that he's willing to sign. There were also times that he said, yes, we have other priorities, talk about our survival in terms of cost of living, etc. But the key one is that he says when the bill is done, he's willing to sign. So we all expect that he will do it within a reasonable time. If he finds that there are parts of the bill that are not, let's say, constitutional, okay, and it's possible Parliament can slip here or there, then in that case, he will do a paper and tell Parliament that he's not able to sign because of X, Y, Z, so that within that, then the Parliament will look at it again.
As supporters, critics, and the wider public await the president's move with bated breath, debates on the bill continue to attract significant national and international attention. Nura Mohammed, TV3 News, Accra.
I want to take you to Oyibi now in the Akuapem South municipality, where residents are protesting poor roads in that area. Joseph Gold Alogbe is there for us. Joseph, what else can you report from there?
So currently, I'm still at the Akuapem South, where some residents all the way from Adomobe and also out of Oyibi, and residents that flies the Adomobe road this morning have been busy. They are not happy. They are kicking against the total neglect of the Adomobe road that connects Oyibi, Adomobe all the way to Ebri. So they've been presenting a petition to the MC for Akuapem South, one Paul Osai, who has been saying that it's not deliberate that government has not attended to that road. I'm speaking with the MC and also the lead convener of the protest. Let's take a listen to it.
for Etiapim South and all relevant stakeholders to immediately prioritize and commence rehabilitation works on the Adomrobe Road without further delay. The people of Adomrobe wish to state clearly that if the road continues to remain unattended to, the community shall organize peaceful protest actions every 6 months until the road is fully
Repeat that
rehabilitated.
again. Every 6 months. Repeat.
Joseph, what was the official response to this petition? Joseph, can you hear us? I'm asking the Assembly's response to the residents.
I'll be speaking with the MC who has been explaining that the road was not captured in this year's big push, but however, that road is very critical to pedestrians or residents that move from Ebri to Oyibi. Hence, hopefully in the next big push project, they are going to include that, and they are still talking to the Roads and Highway Ministry to consider them in their next push. I'll be speaking to him as well. Let's take a listen to him.
His Excellency the President, this road was awarded and work began until the change in government when, as we all know, the new government had a policy to audit all ongoing cocoa roads, which this one was part of. And subsequently, nothing came out of that audit and the road was abandoned. Our indication is that there has been conversations to include this under the ongoing Big Push project, and so we are hopeful that in the subsequent year this will be captured under the project and it will be done. We as a municipal assembly, we have a program for the year which we've started already, where such roads are all being worked on to at least a more trouble level using our drip machines, and definitely they will be captured.
Now, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe, is urgently calling on the government to pass a Mining Revenue Management Act that would direct at least 30% of royalties and other mineral revenues directly to host communities for strategic projects. Dr. Ashigbe believes host communities should see themselves as owners of the process, not just spectators. Irma Smith reports.
Ghana's mineral wealth has been the cornerstone of the nation's economy. Yet for too long, the communities within which these resources are found have not felt the full benefits. Too often, their story has been one of environmental degradation, displacement, and limited economic opportunities. However, that narrative is gradually changing as some mining companies give back to the communities. Speaking at the unveiling of a $20 million 5-year community development fund for residents and communities by Heath Goldfields, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe, called on government to pass a Mining Revenue Management Act that would direct at least 30% of royalties and other mineral revenues directly to host communities for strategic projects.
We cannot do it alone. That is why I reiterate the urgent call for government to pass the Mining Revenue Management Act that directs that at least 30% of royalties and other mineral revenues come directly into the host communities to develop strategic projects in these communities. It should not go into distant bureaucracies, not into opaque accounts. These funds should be invested strategically to grow Ghanaian participation across the entire value chain.
Meanwhile, Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson says community development within the extractive industry must go beyond symbolic gestures and occasional acts of charity. He argues that modern corporate social responsibility must be transformational, strategic, measurable, and sustainable, adding that CSR today is no longer judged by donations or ceremonial presentations, but assessed by the long-term impact created in the lives of the people.
The true measure of responsible corporate citizenship lies in whether communities become more prosperous, more skilled, healthier, environmentally secure, and economically resilient because of the company's presence. In this regard, I'm particularly encouraged that this development plan reportedly prioritizes infrastructure, education, health, local enterprise development, and youth apprenticeship programs. These are critical pillars for building resilient communities and creating opportunities for future generations.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Prestia.
On to the Upper East region, where chiefs and queen mothers in Binduri are appealing to the government to lift ban on motor riding across the Kusog traditional area, saying it is crippling farming and daily life as the rainy season begins. The call came during the salt cutting ceremony for the 24-hour economy market at Bazua in the Binduri district.
Traditional leaders say the restriction on use of motorbikes is affecting all 6 administrative districts in Kusog, not just Binduri alone. Speaking on behalf of the Binduri Naba, the chief of Boko, Awini Adams, said the ban had disrupted farming, market activities, and movement to workplaces.
Binduri is the center of Kusog, and whenever a ban on motor riding is imposed, it affects all the surrounding district. What happened was unfortunate, but it appears the attackers may not have come from Binduri. Punishing innocent residents through a blanket ban is unfair. We are therefore appealing to the regional minister through the Minister for Interior and the government to temper justice with mercy by lifting the ban.
Member of Parliament for Binduri, Isifu Mahmoud, appealed for the lifting of the ban to enable his constituents to access their farms and carry out other activities.
Yes, the curfew was imposed on us. We also know it is not the winning or the wish of government, but I want to believe that putting my ears on the ground, I want to assure the regional minister that it will not happen in this district again.
The Gogo Queen Mother, Tampur Bas Sagat I, echoed the appeal, urging authorities to act quickly so residents can access farms, markets, and schools.
Over here, our means of transport is mainly through the motorcycle. Because of the ban, nurses, teachers are unable to go to work. This 24-hour market initiative would have been a major development for us all. But due to this ban, it has become a major challenge.
Upper East Regional Minister Donatus Akamuguri Atanga said his office would liaise with the security services to review the situation and determine the way forward.
I'm happy that those of them concerned at the top level, they also understand the situation in Ghana, that in Upper East, particularly in this area, we have wild farming season. All those factors will be taken into consideration in looking at the matter.
The sword-cutting event also became a platform for leaders across the region to rally support for the 24-hour economy policy. Tampane MP Lydia Akanyariba Adakudugu noted that the project, alongside the Women's Bank in Wariyanga, would improve livelihoods for women and create opportunities for the youth.
The sound of knives cutting fresh vegetables has become a familiar feature in many markets across the country. Now, for many busy families, it is a welcome convenience that eases meal prep and shortens cooking time. But behind this growing trend lies a critical food safety question. Is convenience coming at the expense of public health? Sarah Prenkro explores the issue.
At the Malamata market in Accra, traders skillfully slice heaps of fresh okra for customers. For more than a decade, Ima has witnessed the evolution of this practice. She says while vegetables have always been prepared for customers, the demand for pre-sliced produce has increased significantly in recent years.
We have been slicing for years. Some will give money for water to wash it.
The trend extends beyond okra. Contemporary sellers spend minutes slicing leaves into neat piles, while cassava sellers peel and chop tubers into ready-to-cook portions. Many traders say customers specifically request the service and often choose sellers who provide it.
Gone are the days afro.
Everyone wants this to be sliced for them. Majority of customers want it sliced.
Then you are good to go.
They said it's difficult to cut it at home, so they want it cut to make cooking easier.
However, the speed with which the work is done raises concerns. Antia admits she cannot always guarantee that the vegetables are thoroughly cleaned before slicing.
Everyone wants it to be cut, but there could be bacteria in the leaves that must be removed. Even cassava and plantain, they want it peeled.
That admission highlights a growing public health concern. Food safety experts warn that fresh vegetables may carry pesticide residues, soil contaminants, bacteria, and other harmful microorganisms from farms, transportation vehicles, and market environments. Food safety specialists say the issue is not necessarily the slicing itself, but the conditions under which it is done. Exposure to contaminated food can lead to diarrheal diseases, food poisoning, stomach infection, and other gastrointestinal illnesses.
The market women should stop it. Some are loaded with microorganisms, bacteria and so forth. Some also have the chemicals because the things have not been washed, and also the hand that the person is also using to collect the money. You don't know what is in somebody's hand and give that money to you, and then you are using that because as they are cutting, they are also collecting money and selling. It is very wrong. These are some of the reasons why we are seeing all kinds of diseases and ailments that we don't know where they are coming from.
Some consumers are aware of these risks and have opted against the convenience, while others do not mind.
I prefer to take it home and wash it well before slicing it. There are bacteria in it.
I have customers I call to slice it for me before I come and pick it up. When I have time, I do take it home and do it myself.
The choice is yours. Sarah Apenko, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, the choice is yours indeed, and thank you so much for watching the News Central today. I am Kamini Amano. I'm back same time tomorrow here on News Central. Bye-bye.